In the background of this video, I'm going to be drawing and coloring and tapping and all the good ASMR stuff. So if this combination of sounds help you relax and even fall asleep, please subscribe to my channel. I'm currently at 633 subscribers. Thank you to those who did subscribe in the past few days. I have a goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2024, and that is only possible with you, so thank you again. With all that said, let's get into this article, which is published on The Guardian on August 1st, 2024, about a week ago. It is titled, "Police Allege Couple Murdered Amber Hay and Used Pigs to Dispose of Body. Court hears." This incident happened in Australia's New South Wales state. Police accused Robert and Anne Gives, Geeves, of murdering teenager Amber Hay, Haigh, to take her baby and then disposing of her body by feeding it to pigs. Robert and Anne Gives are two old people. I don't understand why would two 60-year-olds want to have a baby. That is creepy as hell. The 7th week of the Gives murder trial heard extraordinary evidence about the arrest of Robert and Anne Gives in May of 2022, 2 decades after Hay disappeared without a trace. I really want to know how did it take them 2 decades to arrest these people? Did they just find the evidence? I guess that's what we are going to find out. Amber Hay, who had an intellectual disability, was 19 when she vanished from the NSW Riverina in June 2002, leaving behind her 5-month-old son. The father of Amber Hay's child, can you guess, was 64-year-old Robert Gibbs, and him and his wife Anne Gibbs, who is also 64, now on trial for her alleged murder, and both of them have pleaded not guilty. Police arrested them on 4th of May 2022, about 10:30 a.m. in the cells at Young Police Station, and Gives declined to be interviewed by police, but the court heard she had a conversation with a police officer named Amanda Carey, and she recorded it in her police notebook. In court last week, Crown Prosecutor Paul Kerr, Kerr, questioned Carey, the police officer, on that 2022 conversation where the police officer, had put the allegation to Anne Gibbs that she had on or about 5th of June 2002 murdered Hay. Anne Gibbs denied the allegation. So they're saying police asked her back then when she was arrested that we allege that you killed this person, and she denied. As she still does, I think. In court, the prosecutor, Kerr, said, quote, "Did you put the allegation that she had disposed of Amber Hay's body?" End quote. And the police officer said yes. And they kept asking her questions, with all of them ending in the police officer saying that yes, she completely denied having anything to do with the disappearance and murder of Amber Hay. The court also heard evidence that on the evening on 2nd of July 2002, Robert Gibbs called 8 neighboring rural properties in the space of 90 minutes, seeking permission to access people's land, inquiring after farm equipment, or if he could collect firewood. I mean, just tell me, how stupid can you be? How stupid can you be? You murder someone and you immediately call 8 of your neighbors for firewood, farm equipment, and access to their land. Well, you know that if people are going to come look for the victim, your victim, they're going to ask questions from the neighbors also. Or did they think they're never going to be found out? Or maybe that no one was looking for poor Amber Hay, and maybe it was true because it took them 20 years to arrest people who killed her. The article continues. Recalling the alleged conversation in the young police station cell, the court heard evidence that Carey, the detective, said to Anne Gibbs, quote, "I believe you did go on that land driving the Suzuki, and I believe you did dispose of Amber's body. I believe you helped Robert each time, and I believe you to be equally involved." End quote. To which Anne Gibbs replied, "No." The detective said, quote, "I don't believe you actually killed Amber, but I believe you were present, and you knew it was going to happen, and you helped dispose of her body to pigs. What can you tell me about that?" And Anne Gibbs replied to that, "No, pigs, no." The court also heard evidence of police investigations into a chainsaw bought by the Gibbses. Is that how you say it? Gibbses. Paid for by check. The butt of which was found by investigators on 13th of June 2002 tell me why they had this evidence since then, and it took them 20 years to arrest them. Can I also say that this couple look like they came out every child's nightmare? I mean, look at these faces. The crime that they committed definitely affected how they look, and there's no way around that. They look like freaking witches. The court last week also heard evidence about Robert and Anne Gives' arrest on 4th of May at their property on the outskirts of Horden. Driving the Giveses to Young police station, the detective said she asked Anne Gives if she wanted to know what is new in the 20-year-old case. The detective told Anne Gives a new witness who had not previously spoken to the police had come forward to say that he had seen Anne and Robert along with Hay and her baby on the afternoon of June 5th, 2002 at his property in Borowa, B-O-O-R-O-W-A. The Giveses had said they were traveling with Hay and her child to Sydney. But the witness told police he saw Anne, Robert and the baby at a nearby petrol station an hour later, but that Hay was not present. Anne responded to Detective Carey that she didn't know anybody in that place, Borowa. James Arber from Borowa gave evidence earlier in this trial that he'd seen the Giveses and Hay that afternoon, but under cross-examination he conceded he may have estimated the date he saw her after watching a news item on her disappearance. Interesting. The date, 5th of June 2002, is a critical day in the police investigation because on that day, Robert and Anne told police they drove Amber from their home to Campbelltown railway station on Sydney's southern outskirts, from where she intended to catch a train to visit her dying father in hospital. Amber never arrived at the nearby Mount Druitt Hospital to see her father. She has never been seen since. The last time Amber was independently sighted was 3 days earlier on June 2nd, when she was seen with Robert at her bedsit flat in Young. What is a bedsit flat? A one-roomed unit of accommodation typically consisting of combined bedroom and sitting room with cooking facilities. Last week on Thursday, the court began hearing hours of listening intercepts from the Giveses' home installed by police after Hay disappeared. Wow, you can't do that. The recordings are of low quality and sometimes unintelligible. In them, Robert and Anne discuss the allegations against them and their anger at the continued police investigations, as well as people they believe are conspiring against them. sets also record the couple talking playfully to Hayes' 5-month-old son, who was in their custody at the time. Amber's unresolved disappearance has been an enduring mystery in the Riverina. The court has heard she adored her son and never let him out of her sight. Amber Hayes' body has never been found, but a coroner has ruled she died from homicide or misadventure. The prosecution has alleged in court that Amber was used by Robert and Anne as a surrogate mother because they wanted another baby. So 64 minus 20 is 44. I think at the beginning I misspoke. They wanted another baby at 44, so they decided to use this poor girl that they knew to forcefully make them a baby and then murder her. Wow. Very sound-minded people. The prosecution alleged that once Hayes' baby was born, they sought to have her removed from the equation by killing her. The court has previously heard that Gibbses had had one child together, a son the same age as Amber Hay, who had previously dated her. But the couple wanted more children, having subsequently endured 3 miscarriages and a stillbirth. That's amazing, isn't it, that the world was stopping these monsters to have more children, because obviously they have a lot of issues, but somehow they go around that. They can't have children, but they go and get it from somewhere else. Lawyers for Robert and Anne have argued the case against the couple is deeply flawed, saying, quote, "The Crown case theory is that it was always the intention of the Gibbses to assume the custody and care of the child from Amber, but they knew that to do that, Amber had to be removed from the equation, so the Crown asserts they killed her." Michael King, acting for Anne Gibbs, said his client did not kill Hay and had no motive to kill Amber or even wish her dead. King said others in the community who disapproved of the Gibbs' relationship with Hay, and they were all too quick to point the finger at the couple when she disappeared. Everything they did was viewed through a haze of mistrust and suspicion. That is what their lawyer said to the court. Are you kidding me? Are they going for the... Well, why would it even be weird? This is just a triple couple. Well, not a triple couple, it's a trouble. Anyway, what are they saying? Weirdos. Paul Cody, defense counsel for Robert, told the court his client had denied being in any way involved in her disappearance or murder. He said community distaste at Robert's relationship with a much younger woman with intellectual disabilities fueled gossip and innuendo. Many witnesses harbored grievances or suspicions, particularly against Mr. Gibbs. Well, these are all working against them, isn't it? It all sounds weird because it was. And he's saying, are you just mad at me because I was with a younger woman with intellectual disabilities while being married and 44, while this girl was with my younger son, with my young son, I mean. And now I have a child with this woman, and this woman is missing, and they look like this. So how can you think that I had anything to do with it? That is the end of the article. This is really terrible. I wonder how they came up with them feeding her to the pigs, if there's no evidence for that. I went on Reddit to search more about this case, and I found a post that says Robert Gibbs had a sketchy past and had been acquitted of the murder of another girlfriend in 1993. Janelle Goodwin was found naked, tied up with a bullet wound in her head in a shed on the Gibbs' property. Gibbs claimed that they had an argument in which Janelle produced a gun and accidentally shot herself in the garage. What? How can you tie yourself up and accidentally shoot yourself? I found an article that goes in depth about Robert Gibbs' son, Robbie Gibbs Jr., who has spoken out about his father after 15 years. This article was written 7 years ago. So all these years, police have had their eyes on this family, but they didn't have enough evidence to arrest them, I suppose. But now they are having the trial. But 7 years ago, this is what his son said about him. Amber was Robbie's neighbor and girlfriend when they were teenagers, before she moved to Mount Isa with a relative, ISA. Robbie said, quote, I used to ring her up and then she started talking to my dad on the phone. I told her she's miles away, so we are breaking up pretty much, and I got with another girl, and then my dad kept talking to her on the phone. End quote. It was not long before Robbie was told Amber would be moving in. It almost seems like Robert was waiting for this girl to turn 18, because that's exactly the age when she moved into their home. Robbie said that he spoke to his mother about it, and her reply was that, you know what your father's like. Robbie then said that that's how his father is, and he gets his way no matter what. Robbie also said that his father had always been pretty violent, and that he is even worse when he drinks. At first, Robbie said he said he did not really believe the baby was his father's. However, he said remarks from his mother led him to believe they were using Amber as a surrogate mother. 5 months after Amber gave birth to the son she had with Robert Gibbs, she disappeared without a trace. Police said Amber was allegedly driven to Campbelltown and dropped near the railway station. They said there was evidence Amber's ATM card had been used at an ATM nearby. Robbie, the son, said, "I don't believe for a second that my father dropped her at the railway station." He continued, "His father was the type of man that if he were taking you somewhere, he would just take you to the destination and would not drop you off at the railway station." Janelle Goodwin, a previous girlfriend of Robert Gibbs, also met a tragic end when she was shot at point-blank range, aged 29, and her body discovered in a shed at the back of the Gibbs property. Robbie said, quote, "She was left in a wheelbarrow for 2 days, and my dad went into the Hardin police station 2 days after it happened." Janelle's naked body was discovered dumped in a wheelbarrow on June 21st, 1993, wrapped in a sheet and with her ankles bound to her throat. How did these people were not arrested for so many years? Robbie said from what the police told him, it was the best cleaned crime scene they'd ever seen. Well, of course, he had 2 days to do it. Robert told police he and Goodwin had argued while they were drinking. He said he had been playing with a rifle and Goodwin accidentally pulled the trigger to discharge the fatal shot. Get this, she was pregnant at the time. Gibbs was charged with Goodwin's murder, but it was later dropped. You gotta love Australia. Several years earlier, in 1986, Gibbs had also been charged after 2 13-year-old girls went missing. They were found hidden in a wheat silo on the Gibbs property, but why they were there remains a mystery. Robbie said, from what he understands, he picked them up from a school in Young. One of them, from what I seen, didn't want to be there. What in the world is going on with this family? Robert Gibbs was accused of sexually related offenses, but the charges were dropped and he served 100 hours of community service for hindering police. I can't even say anything at this point. When Amber went missing, Robbie found himself being questioned by the investigators. Robbie said, quote, "The first time the police come and see me, I knew that there was involvement of my father's. because of the whole Janelle thing and his history. In the 15 years since Amber's disappearance, an inquest found she died of a homicide or other misadventure, but could not determine how or who was the perpetrator. Robert refused to answer questions on the grounds it would incriminate him, and he continued to keep his silence when approached by the news. That is also the end of this other article, and I'm just really confused at why these people were still out, especially Robert Gibbs. The wife seemed to be just going along with whatever he did and asked for. So you're telling me in the 80s they were arrested they found 13-year-old girls hidden in a part of their property, and one of them at least said that she was assaulted. He didn't get any time. Then his girlfriend, his pregnant girlfriend, is found on his property with her ankles tied to her throat, wrapped in a sheet, shot point blank in the head, and still he is acquitted. Then another young girlfriend of his who had just given birth, and they are in the custody of the son, goes missing, and still they were not caught when it happened. But at least it is happening now. I wonder, if you are from Australia, what do you think is going to be their sentencing for what they did? And do you think he is going to get charged with Janelle's murder as well? I don't think so. That is